Episode 4 of Reacher Season 1 starts with Reacher checking Spivy's body for anything that may be useful in the investigation. Beyond some tobacco, there's not much else to go on, so naturally, he piles the two deceased Spaniards alongside Spivy in the trunk, complete with bone-crunching precision, and answers a call from Finley. Finley has found out that Hubbell's been lying to Charlie. He hasn't worked at the bank for a year. He's also got it up off about a burnt car found out on the edge of a farm. It seems like someone was hiding it, but the rain has washed away the little cover it had. When they get there, Reacher checks out the vehicle and notices the burning was deliberate. Potentially it was done with an accelerant and a match. They can't be 100% sure that this is Joe's car, but through some ingenuity, Reacher manages to find the VIN number. When Roscoe shows up, the pair head to the trunk of the car. There, Reacher confirms what really happened in the small village in Iraq. The kids there were being abused, and after saving them from their horrific ordeal, he turned his attention to the adults. He offered them a choice, but that didn't turn out so well, eventually leaving them dead. The Kleiner family clearly used their resources to find this out, but of course they spun it as Reacher killing civilians. With the past cleared up for now, Roscoe and Reacher work together to hide the bodies, getting a suite near the airport afterwards. Reacher pays in cash, that same wad of money he uncovered from the bodies earlier. Once they make it into the suite, Reacher sets to work making sure the room is completely prepped just in case they're followed. Molly Beth has tracked down numerous files, but although she's flying in at 5 a.m., Roscoe chirps up and suggests she get a train to 5 Point Station once she touches down. There are less cameras, and given she's handing over classified files, it's in her best interest to keep a low profile. After the call, Roscoe and Reacher end up making love as they find solitude in one another's pain. The next day, Reacher and Roscoe head off and visit Mrs. Jobling. They're there to see Pete, but he's not in. It turns out Pete is actually living in Brookhaven, which gives them their next lead. Showing up to see Judy, there is no love lost between her and Pete. She actually doesn't care that he's dead. Given their lavish house, Judy admits that Pete was involved in some shady business. Specifically, it seems that he was selling air conditioners. Thanks to Reacher's no-nonsense attitude, she leads them to the aircon boxes out in the garage. But yet, there are just boxes and no aircon units. This certainly doesn't add up to the two lavish houses Pete holds, this one and the one his parents are shacked up in, so Reacher believes this links back to the fake cash for Kleiner. The bills could well be produced in South America and then shipped to Florida. This would then give Jobling incentive to drive down with the aircon unit boxes as a cover story to then take the fake cash back to Kleiner. That's the theory anyway, but it's certainly plausible. Back in town, word about Finley's antics at Kleiner's office come back to bite him. Teal is not happy and immediately calls him out and demands he do a deep dive into a whole list of felons. If not, he's going to be chucked off the case, so for now, Finley is forced to play ball. Receiving a call from Picard, Finley talks to him in code. Charlie and the kids are okay, while Picard needs to leave and hand over his files in person at a secured location. Once there, Jack learns that they've got a hit on a Ron Hassey at a motel. Now, this used to be Joe's alias back in the day, so Reacher knows this is all tied together to his brother. When they get there, it seems the South Americans have got to him first. However, Reacher knows his brother better than they do. After finding a discarded bag in the bins, because after all, a suitcase is where you'd leave the precious cargo, right? He uncovers a hidden note. On this, it details several numbers and a couple of cryptic clues, Jobling's garage and Gray's Kleiner file. However, they don't get time to dwell as several gunmen arrive and spray bullets in their direction. The pair run, but Reacher is the target here. With things looking grim, Roscoe eventually shows and saves the day. However, she isn't happy about Reacher's obvious emotional reaction to protecting her. When they head off together, Finley rings with bad news. He believes that Stevenson may actually be one of the dirty cops. Even worse, he could have recognized Picard's voice and name too, compromising the whole operation. Could he be the one responsible for blindsiding them? Either way, the trio meet in secret again and try to decode Joe's note. He never did anything by mistake, and those numbers appear to be extra leads that can be linked to the animal feed, which Reacher hilariously keeps doubling back to. The note in the shoe, and a number for the Memphis Environmental Protective Agency. Needing someone he can trust to help dig deeper, Reacher gives Frances Neagley a call. This lady is a recurring character in the books, and someone Reacher clearly trusts. Anyway, he relays all the information and sets Neagley to work finding out more. At the train station, the trio show up just as Molly does. Unfortunately, they lose her at the escalator. Realizing something is awry, Reacher heads down and finds the suitcase on the train tracks, with the files missing. Continuing on, he finds Molly bleeding from the stomach by the side of the tracks. Unfortunately, she passes away right there and then, leading them back to square one.